Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. We are back, the season's back, and it was very interesting yesterday. I more up at Montrose, and it was actually quite nice, so we didn't have to thaw it this time. How are you?
I'm good. A lot less tired than I was yesterday. That was a long day, but certainly eventful start to the game as we'll go on to. But it's good to be past all the pre-season, all the talk of the summer, and actually get some proper football back for the team.
Yeah, definitely. Car, you missed the game, but you have watched it back, so you're well aware of most of what happened. You seen all the good bits.
Yeah, well, I thought we had quite a good game, and then I spoke to you guys, and apparently not. But so I had a great day yesterday.
Well, we'll get straight into it. The team that started for the first game of the season was Fife in goals. Docherty, Hay, Howitt, Macaulay, Austin, Lafay, McLaughlin, McCleary, Connolly Jackson, and Wilkinson Allen. We were probably a bit surprised that some of the more experienced players were actually making it because they weren't really there for pre-season, but it was quite a strong team to start with.
It was, and reading that out as we all did, reading the team lineup, it was maybe a wee bit of a question of how we're going to line up. I think that was after who's going to be available, given how small the squad is right now. That was the next big question. Were we going to see a continuation of back three, or was it going to go back to a back four that we saw against Sunderland? And that's how it turned out. Jody playing at right back, Ailey and Nick, bit of a makeshift centre back pairing, but they played in there, and Fallon making a first start with Alice on the bench.
Yeah, Car, the midfield was when you are not going to know because you weren't there, but it looked like it was literally a Liv and then just anybody that wanted to be in beside her, and then everybody else up front, like we actually joked about on the pod last week. So Leanne must have been watching me like, that sounds like a great idea. Let's just go really attack and shove everybody up front and hope for the best.
It seems like the SWPL put it down as a 4-3-3, but like watching the highlights, I was kind of thinking, is it? It's kind of everybody in the middle or up front and in the middle, but bit of a weird one. But we've got no players. So.
It seemed more like a 4-2-4, to be honest, because obviously when we were in attack, everybody was going, but then at times I think it was like 4 live in the middle and then 5 at the front. It was just bizarre, but you kind of have to do what you've got to do, I suppose. But Alan, 6 minutes in, and we were behind. The midfield that were just discussed were non-existent. Liv loses the ball. Montrose, for basically our own half, managed to get it to their, is it the on loan striker? I think she's for Hearts or something.
I believe Olivia Jomchut's on loan for a season at Montrose from Hearts, and like you said, they get through the team too easy from middle of the park, and Nick seems to be trying to show her down the outside, but she's left her too much of a gap to shoot, and watched it a couple of times back. I'm not sure if that leaves Jenna a wee bit unsighted, but it's absolute top bin material and absolute cracking goal, because that's when we go to places like this, that's what we concede. We concede absolute worldies, and it's not the start to the season we wanted. It's been 1 down after 6 minutes, but that's probably not surprising.
No, because it's Rangers and we like to do things the hard way. However, Montrose did give us a bit of a dig out a few minutes later. Jenna plays a long ball over the top to Wilko. Wilko gets pulled in. I think it was kind of soft. I don't think she was pulled that much, but if you're going to be the last player, the last defender, it's always going to be a red card, and the Montrose captain got sent off.
Yeah, I mean, I think she probably thinks there's someone else around her and that it wouldn't then be a red card the way that she runs around after the red card happens. But, I mean, there's contact there and Wilko's smart enough to go down, so it is a red card. It seems a bit crazy that early into the first game of the season that's happening already, but the SWPL is what it is.
Yeah, Scottish football does Scottish football things. We had chances, but it seemed like it could have been one of those days for us. We were getting a bit frustrated. Wilko was getting involved in things. Kirsty Howitt had a few shots that kind of went wide. Camille was trying to get involved in things. Mia was at that point having a bit of an off day, and then we eventually get a free kick, and Wilko likes a free kick, doesn't she?
Yeah, and as she said post match in the interview with RTV, that she was a bit annoyed with herself for the first one. You know, after sending off, she just fired that into the wall, and she put a couple over the stand behind the goal before this free kick. But absolutely fantastic finish from a free kick with just over 20 yards out. She's found the top corner, no keeper saving it, but got us back in the game, you know, and for there it was just a case of pushing on. I expected Montrose been down to 10 players after only 9 minutes. We really should have ran riot for this point.
Yeah, just a couple of minutes later, Karen, we did get back in front, though, as you'd expect us to. Those 3 magic words, penalty to Rangers, Camille gets brought down, and first penalty of the season. The world is right again.
Yeah, I mean, at least we've got someone that can take penalties, so that's handy after Rio leaving, so that's a plus. But I don't know what the lassie's doing. There's already a lassie on Camille, and then she just comes in from the side and just absolutely wipes her out. I don't really know what her plan was there, but anyway, it's a penalty all day. Wilko puts it kind of bottom corner as I'm by my cat, and we're back in front. But it really shouldn't have taken that long for us to get back in front.
No,
we can see why some people are asking if the cat's going to make an appearance on the court.
I feel like we should
to the cat.
at this point. Let's just entertain the people. We had chances after that again, but Montrose also had a couple of chances again. The midfield just losing their battles. I think you could see the fitness levels, like say Liv and Camille, they were kind of struggling a bit. I felt obviously they've not really had a pre-season, so they were kind of flying at the deep end, I suppose. You can see they were struggling a bit, but Montrose obviously had a couple of chances. We had a couple of chances, but it was 2-1 at half time.
Yeah, and you could tell Liv was maybe holding back at one or two challenges after she'd been booked as well. So that probably played a factor on both Liv and Camille going off at half time. But it's Camille's natural inclination to go forward, you know, and she's playing in a two-way Liv. So it wasn't really surprising that Liv ended up holding the fort almost on her own at some points. But 2-1 at half time, you know, we played over 30 minutes with an extra player. Pretty disappointed. We were talking at the game, and I was like watching a team of strangers play. Get the, you know, changing shape and changing system. Well, it's always got to take players a wee bit of getting used to after they've been playing so much in the one way the last sort of 2 years. But it was strange to see him play like a team of strangers, because that's what pre-season's meant to be for, sorting that out.
Yeah, Karen, on that point, I think the fact that a lot of them haven't had a pre-season maybe factors into that, but then you're expecting Camille and Liv to come back in. They played with that same team more or less last season, so it shouldn't be as difficult, and it shouldn't be that difficult against Montrose, as much as they were up for the battle and fighting for every ball.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Obviously, I've not seen the full game, so I didn't really see that. It didn't really come across much on the highlights, other than a couple of times looking like headless chickens at points. But yeah, it's a bit odd that I know they've not had much of a pre-season with illness and injury and whatnot, but they have played together for the best part of a year. So I know we've lost Innie in there and we've lost Chelsea in there, but that doesn't change the fact they played together. So yeah, that's a bit of a weird one, and the system shouldn't really change that much when they're in the middle of the park. It's not like they're being asked to go further out wide or move in narrower. It's the same thing, so it shouldn't really cause that much of an issue, but hopefully that gets rectified quite quickly going into next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a tougher game next week, but we will come to that. Half time, Lizzie and Anna and Alice Griffiths come on for Liv and Camille. Alan, probably no surprising, as we've just touched on with the fitness levels, but Lizzie, as always, came on and made a bit of a difference, and Alice was quite tidy with everything she done.
She was, and we saw again Mia moving deep into the midfield. You know, we saw that a wee bit in pre-season. You know, and it's not really going to be our strongest position, but you know, I thought Mia played really well in there. You know, it was good to see Alice get on and start getting more used to a team. You know, I think as she gets games, she's an international football player. You know, she'll be an asset for us, and Lizzie certainly getting off the mark sharp with assists like she did last season. So really good to see, and I think where we got to benefit Lizzie over Mia seemed a bit reluctant to go down the outside and play the ball across to the left. You know, Lizzie was quite confident in doing that. It helped to stretch the park a wee bit, which certainly bore some fruits.
Yep, it certainly did. Almost instantly, Wilko nearly got another goal. Cash, I think it was Brogan that crossed it in. Wilko headed it and it just come back off the crossbar. But it's just what Wilko does. She's just always in a bit of everything, always up for getting more goals.
Yeah, it's what we've come to know and love about her, and but kind of petered out a bit at the end of last season. But she's always good for being in that position. It's just unlucky that it just kind of went a little bit wide and hit the post. But that seemed to happen a lot yesterday. Obviously, I wasn't there, but I've seen on the highlights about 3 or 4 that had hit the woodwork or the post or just gone a little bit wide. So at least we were creating chances, and hopefully that'll get confidence up for Wilko, because we're going to need her this season to really step up along with Kirsty Howitt.
Yep, speaking of Kirsty Howitt, she was assisting Mia finally getting a goal, Alan. Mia had been trying, and it seemed like she was just going to have one of these days, but she did get on the score sheet at 60 minutes. Really good work for Kirsty, passing the ball across the box, and Mia sticks it away, as she does.
Yeah, really good composed finish by Mia. She could easily have snatched at that, you know, after having a couple of chances early in the game, but great work by Kirsty. You know, Kirsty put in an absolute tremendous shift, and we saw a lot last season, especially early in the season, playing sort of just off the front, and a wee bit different for this year playing that role. We're only one striker ahead, but with the wingers higher up the park, so brilliant effort. You know, probably deserved a goal herself, but didn't have a lot of chances, but certainly created Mia's goal, and another one just followed up a couple of minutes later.
Yep, just before that though, Ailey went off for Kathy, who came on back for injury once again, making her 100 appearance for the club. Just talk a bit about Kathy and what she's obviously done for the club and the 100 appearances.
Yeah. I mean, the world to her just being back from injury in general and being playing again, but to come on and make your 100th appearance for the club that she loves, is just incredible. She really has been an asset to us when fit. It's just been injuries that have kind of hampered her. That's not the phrase, but whatever. You know what I mean? They've slowed her down a bit and caused some issues. But yeah, if we can keep her fit and firing, she's really going to be an asset to us. And we'll come on to it later on, but to score in your 100th appearance for the club is just incredible work from Kathy, when she was struggling to score last season. So it's nice that she got on the first game of the season in her 100th appearance.
Yep, definitely. Talking of players getting off the mark, Alan, Brogan getting one early, which I feel like she needs to score probably more goals. I think she admits that herself, but first game of the season, you can't complain when you're getting your first goal.
No, definitely not. And I think the last sort of 2 years, the way we've been playing, the likes of Brogan and Mia and Lizzie have had to do a lot of work further back in the park, playing as wing backs. But if you're going to be playing that system, you know, regular this season with 4 at the back and the wingers higher up the park, they're going to be far, far more clinical and dangerous. We're going to be back to what we saw three years ago, you know, where the likes of Lizzie and Brogan and now Mia coming into a team, you know, we're going to see them tuck in at the back post and find a lot of chances. And that's where Brogan can be so dangerous. And certainly she took advantage of Kirsty Howitt laying on a plate for her, just beating the goalkeeper.
Yep, definitely. I don't know what you think, Alan, but I think Brogan actually looked back to her best yesterday, actually managing to run to the byline, getting the crosses in and that, whereas I think last year and maybe the season before she was a bit more restricted, but she looked a lot more confident and happy, and back to the Brogan that we know.
Well, that's it. I mean, at times Brogan was practically playing right back, you know, in the last couple of years. So the fact that Brogan can attack, she had Jodie behind her, then sometimes she maybe got a wee bit in each other's way in the first half, but knowing that she's got somebody behind her, I'll give her a world of confidence and belief to go and attack, and it'll be the same for whoever's on the left-hand side. You know, we saw Jodie and Fallon on the other side, you know, get forward and support the wingers, and I think we'll get a lot of joy if once the players really adapt to that and get used to playing that way again.
Yep, definitely. Long may that continue, because if Brogan's happy, we're all happy. Mia almost got her second I think she was really unlucky that it hit the post and it goes back into the goalkeeper's arms. I think she was quite frustrated with that one, but unfortunately these things happen. I feel like that's happened at mid-throws before, but they just seem to get that day lucky break sometimes.
Maybe their goals are just slightly smaller, just ever so slightly, like a millimetre or two smaller, and it just causes that to happen. But I mean, the goalkeeper knew nothing about it. The way that it bounced off the post and back, and she kind of turned round and then had the ball was quite funny to watch on the highlights. But yeah, unlucky for Mia not to score again at that point. But we were creating stuff, which was nice. We seemed to be going forward a lot. We seemed to have a bit more energy from the highlights, but I don't know whether that's true or good editing and some commentary makes it seem that way.
No, I think the second half was much better than the first once they spoke about whatever they spoke about at half time. Wilko got her hat trick on the 69th minute. Alan, again, Lizzie managing to get a lovely cross in. Like, again, that was probably something that was going to out our game a wee bit, but thankfully, hopefully this is a sign of things to come. Lovely cross in, Wilko gets in the end of it. Another hat trick.
Definitely, it's just what you expect from Katie. Very similar to header she had tipped onto the bar early in the second half, but Lizzie's beat a fullback and got an early cross in, which you always love to see. Wingers beat the fullback once, get the ball in, and when you've got somebody like Katie Wilkinson in the middle, she's going to more often than not get her head on the end of it, and she beat a keeper who has had a brilliant game. You know, it's not the first time Lauren Perry's been a standout against us when we've been up there, but she's been beaten. It wasn't the most clinical header we've ever seen, but it was angled into a perfect spot. The keeper just wasn't going to reach it, going the other way. So Kate Wilkinson with a match ball, you know, it's something that we'll never get tired of seeing.
Yep, as you say, death taxis and Wilko scoring hat tricks every time. Brogan went off, Laura Berry came on, and then a wee while later Wilko goes off, and Maycroft comes on. Maycroft's number has changed to 21, I believe, now that she's got her contract, which we noticed yesterday, and Raf seems to be number 6 now, just things we noticed at the game. But yeah, Maycroft came on. Carr, obviously you never really seen it, but very effective again. Seems to be quite tidy with her work, and I think she's going to be a promising young player, as we've obviously touched on already, but good to see her getting more minutes, and obviously your favourite Laura Berry getting on.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really feature much of Laura Berry in the highlights, which I'm really annoyed about. That, like, I don't care if she didn't do anything; they could just still include her just for my sake. But I digress. I'll send an email about that. May, there was a bit in the highlights where May looks quite good. She's in the middle of the park and she controls the ball and then plays the pass, which, you know, that's what you expect from her. But it's crazy that she's going to be 16 next month. It's just incredible at her age how good she is. So I'm glad that she's getting the opportunity and she's not just being put out on loan and going to develop somewhere else. We're actually willing to keep hold of her and develop her ourselves, which is really good. So yeah, definitely one we're going to need this season, and I just can't wait to see how good she's going to be, because once she starts scoring, I don't think she'll stop. She's one of those midfielders that I think she'll just keep banging them in.
Yeah, definitely. And the final goal of the game, as Cara mentioned earlier, Kathy Hill getting on the score sheet. Alan, again, another great cross in for Lizzie, and an easy ball for Kathy to tap home. Usually she's scoring headers, but one with her foot this time.
Yeah, and if you look at the sort of match day pictures the club put up, you know, Luke's got some absolutely brilliant action shots. Kathy flying through there to volley that home with her left foot. So Kathy absolutely loved that. You could see her celebrations. You know, she's delighted to be back in the score sheet. She'd stayed up after a corner. So, you know, it was just about us keeping the ball alive, no letting them throws out, getting quality delivery into the box, and Kathy's there at the back post. What the highlights didn't show, and Carver would have missed, was an absolutely brilliant finish by Laura Berry. Even though she was clearly offside, you know, that lob in the keeper was a tremendous finish. So just for Carl's benefit, you know, we've got to highlight that.
Which they should have really shown anyway, because it was worth watching again, but she was offside, as she tends to be. But anyway, finishes 6-1 Cat. Obviously, as the highlights made it look better than it probably was, and we should have scored more than it was with the amount of chances we had. But 3 points on the board, that's what we need to do. Just get the points on the board, score as many as we can, and hope for the best.
Yeah, obviously performances are important, but I don't really care if we're rubbish the entire season as long as we win it at the end of it. doesn't really matter. It'll be horrendous on our heart rates for the whole season if we have to endure that. But if that happens and we win it, I don't really care. It's just get the points on the board, try and keep the goal difference up. We found out last season that doesn't really matter a lot of the time. So we just need the points more than anything. And hopefully the relationships and the partnerships will come. Hopefully we'll sign some more players. That would be nice, so that we've got some more options, just in case there's more injuries or illness or whatever. So we've got options there. But yeah, it's first game of the season. It's against Montrose. We're not always going to batter them 12-0. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. We won, so happy days.
Happy days. Player of the match, Alan, who would you go for?
I think we have to make it Katie. You know, she's made the difference. You know, she scored the crucial goals that got us back level and got us ahead. You know, it's a tough test to start the season, but everybody goes up there expecting we're going to absolutely batter Montrose. You know, they make it really hard for you. You know, they're a physical team. They've got a new pitch down this season, which was very, very slow. It looked very sort of sandy. I'm told it was. I'm told that it's more sort of wood chip almost, and you could see how dry it was. You could see some pretty bad sort of grazing on some of the players. You know, Jodie and Camille especially. So the ball was holding up and was a bit trickier to play on. But you know they've adapted. You know, and they're going to have to adapt to changing pitches. You know, we're playing more games at Ibrox in a much bigger pitch this year. You know, then going back to playing on artificial parks, the players are going to have to learn to be more flexible and hopefully it adds a different dynamic to the game. But I don't think we can look by Katie for a player of the match.
Cara, is there much point asking you, or are you just going to say Katie from what you said as well?
I mean, realistically, I'm probably going to pick Katie, but shout out to Lizzie and Kirsty Howard, because those two assists, especially Lizzie's assist for Kathy, was just incredible. Top notch, exactly what we want. So, but I'll give it to Wilko. She got a hat trick. It's just she must have a room in her house that's just full of balls. And like they must be raging about that, the amount of match balls that she gets.
Yeah, I think at this point they probably just made it a rule that she doesn't get any more. She gets her picture. That's it. But yeah, it's probably going to be Wilko. I think obviously as we say, Lizzie's been great as well. Brogan was really good for the full game. But yeah, it's probably Wilko's always going to get it if you're going to score 3 goals. So we move on to the next one, which is, as you mentioned, Alan, we're at Ibrox. We play Hearts. It's going to be a much tougher game, I would imagine, because Hearts, was it 2-1 they got beat off Celtic yesterday, but tighter than. Well, actually, I thought it was going to be a draw, to be fair, but they're obviously still a good, strong team, so it's going to be a difficult test next week. And Ibrox has been not so good for us in recent times, so we need to change that.
We definitely do, and I'm very reliably informed that it's quite unbelievable after Hearts got that late penalty that didn't score again. I believe he had some brilliant chances at the end of the game that they really should have got something from that game. So they'll certainly not want to start with back-to-back defeats. You know, they'll have something to prove. You know, certainly Hearts might enjoy playing on a big pitch too, but hopefully the wide areas will maybe bear fruit for us, because Hearts like to play a 3-at-the-back as well, as we saw last year. I think that's what we played yesterday. So hopefully we can stretch him and really test him. But players have got another week in training, a week to get fit up, week to get ready for it. Hopefully we've got some deals in. You know, we spoke last week when we were doing the season preview pod that we expected some players in last week, and we've not seen it yet. So hopefully this week, you know, the players that they are top players. We've got some of the best players in the league and our team, and I firmly believe that, but they need support. You know, we can't do this season on a squad of 18 or 19 players with 3 of them being goalkeepers.
Yeah, very true. So, Card, with the team, do you think it's going to be more or less what we've seen yesterday, given the numbers that we've got?
Probably. I mean, the only thing maybe Kathy would start, or depending on where Leah Eddy is in her recovery situation potentially, but I can't see many changes, to be honest, and I wouldn't be changing the goalkeeper. So probably not. I think that probably is the team until we get more players back from injury.
Yeah, right. So 4:10, that game's going to be. Tickets are on sale. I haven't actually got a clue how well they're doing, but I'm assuming it'll be reasonably well because it's a Sunday. The only issue is obviously the subway and whatnot because it may be a later kick-off, but that's not our problem. So get along if you can, support the team. Alan, we've got about 3 hours to go through the loan report that I believe you've done, so we'll kick back, get a cup of tea and let you crack on it.
Yeah, the loan report is pretty big, and after we thought we'd actually totted it all up last night, we found out we actually had another player on loan this morning, thanks to Laura's detective work. So Sophie Townsley, player of the season at Hamilton last year, she's back there and played 90 minutes. I believe she was player of the match as Hamilton lost late on against Partick at New Douglas Park. Lily Boyce and Sophie Blacker at Motherwell. So Lily Boyce came on in the 48th minute and Sophie came on in the 58th minute. Motherwell obviously lost 3-0 at Glasgow City. Sophie Rutherford came on at half-time for Queen's Park when they lost 4-2 up at Dundee United. Two teams that went down last year off to a tough start against each other. Spartans were the third team that went down last year, so they started with a 3-0 win at Still in Uni. Now, Casey McKenna played 90 minutes and Natalie Bandura played just over an hour, scoring twice. So, absolutely brilliant start at Spartans for Natalie and Casey. Mia MacArthur started and was player of the match for Gartcairn. They won 3-2 up at East Fife. Alba Stewart and Rebecca Simpson were both on the bench, but I can't see any mention or note of them getting on. So, I'll work on getting more updates from the Gartcairn games. And Lucy Livy, we realised today is out on loan at Boroughmuir. She came on in the 57th minute for them, and they won 2-0 at home to Livingston. So 10 youngsters out on loan, mostly in SWPL too, but given their age and lack of experience, it's probably where they're going to see a lot more game time. So as we've done for the last couple of years doing this podcast, we'll do our best to keep track of him, and we'll see how much him get mentioned in the club's loan report they put up during the week.
Yep, definitely. How good though, Card? Have we've got 10 players out, and what was that? 3 of them getting player of the match awards for their clubs. Like, it just shows we go on about how talented they are, and people are probably they're biased or whatever, but they are so talented that it's just absolutely unreal how many we've got coming through. It's just like a constant production line of more talent, and that's the proof that's in the pudding.
Yeah, and I was a little bit concerned that maybe we'd hit a sticking point, and we've had so many good ones come through the last kind of few years that we'd maybe hit a bit of a bare patch, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems that every age group just has incredibly talented young lassies that are just going to keep progressing up the age groups and then come through to our first team, hopefully. So yeah, great to see, and we'll try and keep an eye on all of them because it's going to be incredibly difficult with some of the social media accounts for some of those clubs are a bit difficult to find out information, but I'm sure Alan will have great fun all season trying to find all the information out about them. But yeah, fantastic to see some of our young players scoring already, getting player of the matches for their loan clubs. It's just so good to see.
Yep, absolutely. Hopefully they keep smashing it for the rest of the season. Predictor, Alan, first one done of the season. You've got it all tallied up in that already. How did we get on?
Well, you did quite well. Not quite as well for me and Car, mind you. Demi Lee was top scorer. She gets 38 points. Absolutely brilliant return.
Well,
You yourself got 29 points, Laura. I was way down the list at 23, and Car only went for 18 points. But we've certainly had a good take up. 23 entrants. A couple of people talked about being interested in it and trying to make sure they don't miss it next week. So hopefully get a few more and make sure everybody continues to enjoy it. It's been well worth doing. The last couple of years. We've helped people take a wee bit more an eye on what's happening in the league, which I think is good and helps people be a wee bit more knowledgeable going to games. Which will make it a wee bit more enjoyable, hopefully. But we'll We'll keep it simple this year. We'll put the thread up to enter on a Tuesday, and we'll only do midweek rounds when we are playing. So we'll always get predictions on our own games. So good luck to everybody involved in listen. Thanks everybody that takes an interest in it. You know, it makes it worth all our while actually trying to do things.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll leave it there. Obviously, the next game, as we say, is Hearts. Tickets are on sale. I think it is also on TV. Is it BBC Ireland, I want to say? That it's on? Well, as we said, 10 past 4 kick-off, so I just answered more questions. So it's on TV, but obviously get along and support the girls if you can. We want to get Ibrox with a good crowd in it for the girls, so we'll hopefully see you there. As always, my thanks to Alan and Car for joining me.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Laura. I'll see you on Sunday.
Yep.
See you on Sunday, and we'll hopefully see you all there as well. Speak to you next time.